Up in the north of England, there's the small town of Crithen Gifford. When Arthur Kipps, a solicitor from London, is sent there after the death of a client, he finds a quaint market town and a messy house of an old widow who died as a recluse. But there's work to be done, and Arthur goes to her house, the Eel Marsh house, to go over some papers. And then he starts feeling he's not alone. He starts hearing things, starts seeing things. And then he realizes that despite him being the only living creature in the house, he is not alone there. Hey bookworms, welcome back to another retro review where I review classic novels, and today I will be talking about The Woman in Black by Susan Hale, a classic gothic novel about a young lawyer who goes to a deceased woman's house to organize her financial papers, only to find himself haunted by the history of said woman and a ghost haunting the house. But before I tell you what I thought about the book, I will remind you that on this channel I talk about books. I mostly do book reviews, but every now and then I specifically talk about classics and try to bring them to an eye level and make them more user-friendly. So if that is something you think you might find interesting, feel free to scroll around my channel and see what else you might like there. So this is a case where I saw the movie before reading the book. Now there were 2 movie adaptations as far as I know, and I saw the newer one with Daniel Radcliffe from 2012. And I found the differences between the book and the movie very interesting, but more on that later. For now, let's talk about the book. I really enjoyed it in the 3 days it took me to read it. It's a rather short book, almost a novella, and it's just the right length. It doesn't drag, gives you enough story, background, and information. It's really to the point, which is interesting considering it's a Victorian novel and they tend to take their time, describing what everybody ate for breakfast and what everybody was wearing. This book is such a nice, classic gothic novel. It's interesting, entertaining, and just the right amount of spooky. It's not really scary, but it has a good mystery to it. I really don't have any negatives. It was fun, a little creepy, and had compelling characters. It also had logic. People don't just ignore awful signs or going blind into rooms with strange noises. I'm pretty sure that if I were in Arthur's shoes, I would have done pretty much what he did. He had a good head on his shoulders. The book does kind of ends abruptly, but again, it's just the right amount of information you need to finish it. And even the dog survives. Now, I mentioned the movie, so I just want to shortly touch upon it. They made some changes. Most of them made total sense. They add some action and upbeat drama, okay? But they also changed how the curse was treated by the characters, which is interesting. And that is not really a difference between mediums, but more of the difference of the times. In modern works, whenever there is a ghost or a curse, the characters try to solve it, to break that curse. But in Victorian literature, it's just accepted as some sort of a force of nature, despite beginning as a human being that was wrong and died. In The Woman in Black, no one tries to figure out how to break the curse, but in the movie they do. It is interesting how even supernatural villains get a humanizing treatment. I mean, no spoilers, but in the book we also feel sorry for what the ghost went through in life, but once you're dead, you are no longer human and therefore are not treated as such. And I thought it was very interesting. I think that the horror genre, both in books and movies, can tell us so much about society, and comparing versions done in different times can really put a mirror to what we found important or scary at those times. Just think, for example, about Dracula. Think of the book, the classic 30s movie, and the 90s movie, among so many other versions. Look at how they focus on different things. How in one you have a scary foreigner, while in another you have a doomed love story. And if you want to take it a step further, look at the world at those times and see what was happening, what wars were fought, what threats were made to the average person, and you will see this reflected in the version you are watching or reading. Okay, we're going back to the book, but I do think that fictional narratives that reflects humanity, like horror or science fiction, are fascinating. So if you want me to make a video about it, let me know and I will start working on it in the next decade. So, The Woman in Black was a lot of fun. It's a short read, really a classic Gothic novel with great characters and relatively modern values. I know we like to think that in Victorian culture they only cared about keeping appearances as functioning members of society and nothing else, but in this book you have people marrying for love, treating dogs with respect, acknowledging the injustice done to unwed mothers, and very importantly to this plot, the notion that a child who isn't yours biologically but under your care can and should be treated with all the love and dedication you would for your own flesh and blood. So if you want to read a Gothic story, if you want something spooky that isn't really scary, or you just want a pre-Halloween fun read, I highly recommend The Woman in Black. Honestly, I didn't expect to like it the way I did, but I'm glad I read it. And guys, that was my review on The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to my channel for more bookish video, and if you like the genre, stay tuned for October. I will be uploading once a week a review on a horror book, but they have a theme. Also, if you like Victorian horror, check out my playlist from Halloween 2022 where I reviewed some classic Victorian horror novels. So again guys, thanks for watching and I will see you next time. Bye bye.